All right, sorry again. So we're going to finish, review and finish the lesson on a factor label. And then you have to practice a lot, don't you? So on Monday, I'll be giving you one of these. This is a factor label certification. And I think I'm going to tone that down to 20 points. Even if it's 25, I'll probably tone it down to 20. But anyway, certification means that you work this problem by yourself, and you can use your notes or whatever, and I walk around the room, and if you get it right, I just put my initials there, and you said, you can count on me. I know how to do that kind of problem. You're certified. You get that? And whether I ask you to do it tomorrow or Monday or the next day, my initial says, you don't want my initials on there if you don't know what you're doing, right? That's why you're not allowed to talk to anybody on Monday. You can't talk to anybody else. And if you need help, I'll walk around to your desk and say, I'm having some trouble with this. And then when you understand it, you say, now I get it. And I'll put my initials there, see? And so you have some problems here. You have 5 problems on Monday. And all it is that I'm going to practice factor label and show you that I really do know what I'm talking about with factor label. It's right back there. All right, you got that? And then I won't see you on Tuesday. I never see you on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, I don't know if it's Wednesday or Thursday, but probably Wednesday, then I'll probably give you a quiz on factor label. And that'll be the last 2 grades that we would have for the quarter. Did everybody get that? So they're not huge grades, but this is like 20, and I think the quiz might be 40 or 50. And so those would be the last 2 grades. So that's where we're going to end it at that point. All right, so let me get rid of this. So right now, we're going to go back. And I told you, it was a dumb joke about the chainsaw. But, if it's a tool, if I show you factor label, but you really don't know how it works, it's not a very good tool. What you don't want to do is say, well, I just want to copy what you did. You don't need to copy what I do. You need to say, well, that makes sense. And if you weren't here, that's what I would have done. When you can start saying that, then it becomes a tool that belongs to you. It's a learning tool. You get it? It's a learning tool. I wish I had more learning tools when I had gone to college. A lot of my teachers in high school they would give notes, and sometimes 3 pages a day, and I would copy the notes, and I'd do that every day, and then we'd have a test. Guess what the test was on? On the notes. Did I remember what was on the notes? And I guess I got to be pretty good at that, but I don't feel like it allowed me to think about the things. You get that? And so we certainly have certain things in here you had to memorize. You had to memorize your prefix, didn't you? I get it. You just have to memorize those. But I wanted to show you could do something with it. That's what the Powers of 10 thing is all about. So let's look here. We started out with factor label, and we started out with a really simple problem. And as a matter of fact, you already knew the answer, didn't you? And what I was saying is, if I could show you a new way of doing that problem, then you should be able to do this problem down here. And this is one that nobody in here could have done, not until now. And so here's how it works again. Step 1, you write down the given, and remember that the word 18 and donuts are both in the numerator because we need to know who's in the numerator, who's in the denominator. You got that? And then step 2 is to multiply by a conversion factor. Now again, in mathematics, you can't just go around multiplying things by whatever you want and then say it equals the same thing. It doesn't. Get it? The only reason that 10x equals 20, 10x equals 20, the reason that works, the reason I can say equals, I can only say equals if x equals 2. Is that correct? If x equals 2, then 10 times 2 equals 20, right? And so, same thing here. This can't equal that unless I multiply by this. Now, what do all conversion factors have in common? All of them. Finney, you okay? Put your book up, okay? What do all conversion factors have in common? Let me ask you some of that. Who knows that? Let's see. John, you know that one? All conversion factors have something in common. Now, can I ask you something? We just started this yesterday. I got it. But if you can't answer this, you missed a big part of the lesson yesterday. because I gave you a final exam. Remember that? In my final exam, we had 4 different answers. Guess how many the other class had? They had 4 different answers. Your class, nobody had the right answer. Their class, they did have somebody had the right answer, but there were 4 different answers out there, and they took a vote. The whole class did not know this. But the question is, what now?
You said the answer was 1, right?
Yes.
I thought like 4 people in our class said that.
Oh, wait, I had the wrong one then. Okay. Yours must be the other one. Your class is the one, there's somebody got it right. I'm sorry. But there were 4 different answers, right? And so the whole point yesterday was that we're going to use all of these little quiz questions in this idea. Now, for example, 12 donuts equals 1 dozen. I need to know that because anything, except for 0, anything divided by its equal is equal to 1. And if you said this equals that, then I can use it to build a conversion factor that equals 1. And math says I can multiply anything I want times 1. Got that? So all conversion factors have to equal 1. Now, they don't look like 1, do they? That's the weirdest looking 1 you've ever seen. But you told me that except for 0, anything divided by itself was equal to 1. Not 1 donut, just 1. So let's go down to the next one. Now, how do you know which conversion factor you're going to... And by the way, what do you build conversion factors from? Let me ask, I don't know, Maddie. What do you build conversion factors from? Where do they come from? You make them from what? Okay, that's fine. We just started, didn't we? All right? All right, yes. Yes. So equivalents are things that are equal to each other, right? And how do you build a conversion factor from equivalents? Now, if I give you this equivalent statement, how many different conversion factors can you make? Let me ask Victoria. Victoria, if I give you this statement right here, how many different conversion factors can you make?
6.
How many?
6.
Not out of this. Let me call Claire.
Just out of that 1.
So 1. You say 1, you say 6. Anybody else have a different answer?
2.
2? Okay, let's take a look. If this is A and this is B, I could have A over B or B over A. And that's what these are, aren't they? How many different conversion factors can I make from that? 2. You get it? Now, how do you know which conversion factor to use? And that's the beauty of this. That's why it's called factor label. I have to get rid of the label here called donuts in a numerator, so I have to have donuts down here, don't I? So if you ask me which one to use, I need the one that has donuts in the bottom, isn't it? That's the key. That's the key to factor label. Now, notice that I do not pick up my calculator now. I don't do any side calculations. The numbers will take care of themselves if I take care of the labels. You do not put equals in between this. You only put equals when the last label not canceled out is the one you want. You got that? I'm so serious about this. Like I said, if it's a 10-point question, I'll give you 8 points for setting the question up right. And I'll give you 2 for the answer. That's all. So if you just want to put the answer down and don't want to show me your work with factor label, I'll give you 2 out of 10. But on the other hand, you could get the answer wrong, and everything else is set up right. You just punched it wrong in the calculator. See that? I'll still give you 8 out of 10. So that's how serious I am that I want you to learn this. I don't really care that the answer is 1.5. You already knew it anyway, didn't you? I care about whether you know how to do this. You want to go ahead and close that for me, please? Isabel, you would do it? All right, so let's go down here. And I think, Victoria, what happened here, she remembered something yesterday. Something that, maybe she didn't quite understand how to do it. Here's what I said. What if I give you this equivalent statement? A equals B equals C. Now how many conversion factors can you make? And Andrew's going to give me a good answer on this one. How many conversion factors can you make from the statement A equals B equals C? Six, and they're right here, aren't they? Okay. Anyway, and that's when the answer was 6, wasn't it? So now we went to a problem that wasn't so easy, that you didn't know the answer without using the factor label, okay? And I asked you to go ahead and do what you're supposed to do. And then eventually, who was it that raised their hand? Let's see. Who raised their hand and said, I need to know? Nobody?
Karen said that.
Who was it?
Karen.
Okay, yeah, you did, right? I need to know. And so what we had to do is, I taught you a little bit of something about the periodic table. This is something you might see in chapter 7. I need a little bit of chapter 7 to do this. 1 mole of sulfur equals this many atoms of sulfur. And I could do the same thing with carbon. 1 mole of carbon is this many atoms of carbon, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Let's do another one. 1 mole of uranium equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. What? What's the label that comes after that? The labels are the most important thing, okay? 1 mole of uranium equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, what? Atoms. Now, this third piece, this third equivalent, that's the one I do need a periodic table for. I could do every element of the periodic table, the first two. Get that? Everybody can do that. You just have to remember 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. Well, how do I get this other number? The gram number. I look up here on the periodic table, and let's finish the uranium one. Here's uranium. 1 mole of uranium equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. What label? Atoms of uranium equals, Olivia, help me out.
238.
238 what? What's the label?
Grams.
Yes. 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 Everybody got that? Now, that's all I need you to know from chapter 7. That's all. So I'll give you a periodic table, and you said, good. Now I know 3 equivalents about every element on the periodic table. You get that? Now, let's see which one you want. Okay, here's a question. 50 grams of sulfur, you automatically, and you want to change that to atoms, right? You automatically, if that says grams of sulfur, notice I don't even pay attention to the number. I'm not even looking at the number. Grams of sulfur here has to be canceled out by putting grams of sulfur here. Isn't that right? Now, which one do I want to replace it with? Atoms. So let's go down here. Where's grams of sulfur? And you say, no. No. Yes. See? Grams of sulfur. So what number goes there next to grams of sulfur? That always goes with that. You get that? Every year, I have somebody put the wrong number there. How? Look. How? These are linked. They're linked. Get that? Okay, so then I put that in there, and then I actually give you points for canceling out your labels with a single line. Why a single line? Because if you miss the problem, you go back and see what your mistake was. You get it? Don't go like this, okay? And then, to get finished, anything that's in a numerator, you multiply by it. If it's in a denominator, you divide by it. So it's this times that, divide by that, enter. And there you go. And by the way, a calculator will say 9.319 E23. After it gets so big, it'll say E. E means times 10 to the. What do you think? All right, well, let's go to the next page. The next page, this is where we start here. I'm going to call these types, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4. I'm never going to ask you what type it fits into. I just want to teach it because type 1 is the simplest kind I can give you. It only needs one, it requires one conversion factor. Well, how many conversion factors do you see here? Claire, Nettles. How many conversion factors do you see here? That's right. What's this called? That's the given. That's not a conversion factor. If it's a conversion factor, you know how I know it's a conversion factor? Because the thing on the top has to equal the thing on the bottom. This doesn't equal that. That's not a conversion factor. That's the given, and this is the conversion factor. Get it? All right. Anyway, if you want to change 130 pounds into kilograms, here's my equivalent. Set it up. See? How do I know which one to use? Put pounds down here, kilograms here, like that. Then we did type 2. We ran out of time, but we'll do this again. Do you guys have the 5-hour-old baby, right? Okay, so the 5-hour-old baby is how many centuries old? You do not sit there with your calculator and try to calculate that on a side calculation. For me to give you a grade for factor label, say show your work, what I would give you is I would give you a bunch of equivalents. The only equivalents you will not see me give you, if you don't know how many hours in a day, I'll write it down for you. Which ones do you think I would not give you? Take a wild guess. Which ones would I not give you? I'll tell you how many inches are in a foot. But which one will I not give you? Huh? You guys not good at guessing? I will not give you powers of 10 equivalents. I will not tell you how many centimeters in a meter because you're supposed to know, aren't you? So that's where there's going to be a little thing if you still don't know your powers of 10. And so what we did is we had to go from hours to centuries. I don't know the equivalent of hours and centuries, but I can get closer to a century by going hours and days, days into years, years into centuries. See that? And if you look, I know I'm done when the last label has not been canceled out, and I have to make sure I write that label down here, isn't it? Now the bell was ringing, and I know that some of you didn't even like what I said because I know how they do it in middle school, elementary school. It's so much easier to tell a young person to say, just multiply, 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 write it down. Multiply, 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 write it down, and then divide. We're not doing that. You don't do that anymore. That's baby stuff, okay? Here we go. This divided by that, divided by that, divided by that, enter. That's it. And we're done. Everybody got that? If you don't believe me, do it your old way, and you'll get the same answer, except why are you writing stuff down like that? Yes, no? Okay. All right. By the way, if you want, I can prove to you that if you think I'm wrong, I can prove to you something. Let's take a problem like this. 200 divided by okay. Pick up your calculator and let me see what happens. If you think that you do 200 divided by 10 times 4, try it. Try 200 divided by 10 times 4. Now you'll get an answer, won't you? It'll be the wrong one. What answer are you supposed to get here? 5? Okay, so now try this. 200 divided by 10 divided by 4. Now do you get the right answer? I'll prove another way. Ready? I'm going to make that number disappear. How do you do this problem? 200 divided by 10. Oh. How do you do this problem? 200 divided by 4. You do divide by the denominator, don't you? So if we can get that out of the way, every year I still see people that do that thing that they can't get rid of that habit that they picked up somewhere. All right, what I'm going to do now, I want you to do well in factor label. I really want it to be a tool that you're going to use. Let's go look at type 3. Type 3 is something like this. All right, see that? 100 miles per hour equals how many meters per second? Now, there's some little tricks here, little tricks going on. Can you see that? I'm going to write down the given, 100. I will not write MPH. What does MPH mean? But what does per mean?
That in that span of time you will travel that distance.
Per means if you get paid $8 per hour, get that? Per means what? Divided by. Per means divided by. So this is the way you'd write this. Now, it's unusual, and I hate it, but our country didn't care about the metric system anyway, and so they wanted to abbreviate miles per hour, and so they put MPH. But around the whole world, M does not mean miles. MI means miles, but they're not going to change it. So this really is MI, PH, but they're not going to say MIF. I don't think they want to say MIF. Now, let's go over here. When I get done, I really want meters over seconds, don't I? So let me show you how to do this one. And I'll actually show you the equivalents I'll give you. First of all, this is the same idea, except I just attack one label at a time. Just attack one label at a time. You get that? So what I'm going to do here is, I know miles has to go away, and I have to replace it with what? Meters. Got it? So I'm going to give you some equivalents. 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. Okay? I'm going to give you that one. That's one I use all the time. So what I'm going to do here is, I know it's automatic. I'm going to write miles there automatically, aren't I? Now, I don't know miles and centimeters. I don't know miles and meters. I'm not going to give it to you anyway. But I do know miles and feet. And so I had to think like a little chess match here. Ready? My chess match says I've got to eventually get into the metric system. But I'm in the English system. And here's my bridge. Here's the key to me entering into the metric world. If I can get all the way down to inches, I can cross over into the metric world, and then I'll be up there where I want. Okay, let's try it. What do you got here? What's equal to here? What's equal to what? If this is a conversion factor, how many feet equals how many miles? And even though you live in this country and you said, oh, I hate the metric, you don't even know the English system. How about that? So 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. Is that correct? I can give that to you. I can give that to you. Now, are we done? Are we done? No, we're not done. That means we build another one. What label has to automatically go away? There you go. See? Automatic. Feed into what? Help me out. Yeah, help me out so we can finish. Inches. And I know that 1 foot is the same as 12 inches. Cancel. Cancel. Uh-oh. I'm going to cross the bridge. Oh, yes, I am. Now I'm where I want to be. You see that? I know that 1 inch is the same as 2.54 centimeters. And then the equivalent that I will not give you because it's powers of 10 is how do we go from centimeters to meters? One of the biggest mistakes every year people make is they put the wrong number with the wrong unit. I'll give you a clue. This is a bigger unit than this, isn't it? A meter is bigger than a centimeter. Is that correct? Don't give the big unit the big number. You know 100 goes somewhere, doesn't it? I've seen some people in here, their brains work like this. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. I tend to work like that. I've seen other people in here that do this. 1 centimeter is 0.01 meters. Which way are you supposed to do it? It doesn't matter. They both work. As long as this number here is 100 times bigger than that number, it's going to work. I happen to be the kind of person that does something like this. 100 centimeters is the same as 1 meter. I don't care if you're the other kind of person. Now, I'm not done yet, but I'll tell you what I do know. See this guy here, meters? Don't touch it. I'm going to leave you alone, okay? Now, am I finished? Now, I go all the way back. Right now, I'm in meters per hour. I don't want meters per hour. Now, watch this little trick here. How do you get rid of hours in the denominator? Yes. And let's go hours to minutes. By the way, every year I have somebody tell me that 1 hour is 60 seconds. Yeah, this class would have been over a long time ago. 1 hour is 60 minutes. True. Now watch. Cancel. Whoa. Cancel. Now I'm in meters per minute. One more. We can do it. Get rid of minutes down here by putting it up here. And wait a minute, your seconds are going to be in the bottom. That's where I want it. I want seconds in the bottom, don't I? Cancel. Cancel. Look. Meters per second. I did it. I'm going to get this question right. Now, pick up your calculator. Here we go. This should be the last thing we do, and I'll let you go. Ready? Everybody, you're going to check with your neighbor. We got this times that, times that, times that. Uh-oh. Divided by 100. Oh, divided by 60. Oh, divided by 60. Okay, put that answer down, and it's in meters per second. And that's what we'll do. All right, what do you think? Feel a little bit better about this? All right, well, thank you very much. Have a nice weekend. I will try to get those bonus opportunities. I'll try to get them graded before I leave today, if I can, hopefully. If I don't, I will add them on Sunday. I'll be fine. I don't know. Do you have it? Huh.
I don't think I have. Thank you for that.
Okay, you're welcome. Who had the answer? Who wrote the answer down? Anybody?